Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Is it a luxury? Is it a blessing to have such a kicker like Aubrey that we get to the 40, 45, we're good, you know?
Definitely both. Definitely both. He's unbelievable. And it's he proves it over and over again.
When you get to Chicago, they say it might rain in the morning and the wind. What's the process like for a situation like that, especially with a strong kicker like Aubrey?
Mm-hmm. I think it's you have your plan, and then you just got to see how the wind is when you get there. There's some stadiums like that. You have an idea, which, how the wind blows, but you got to see how it is when you get there. It was like that for us a couple weeks ago in Philly. It kind of changed an hour before the warm-up and then during it, and then it was kind of, slightly shifting. It's amazing how much 5 or 10 degrees can change things for kickers, and we're ready to adjust as always.
Nick Todorch with ESPN. I think your rookie year, Jeff Wilkins' longest field goal he made was 47 yards.
It's Wilkie. That's a good pull right there. He was a good kicker.
When did this change where, now 50 really is not some magic number, and even you see in 60, obviously your guy and Boswell.
It's unbelievable. I think it's just sports in general. It's the 4.340. It's the 100 meters in the Olympics. I mean, I just think everyone is just getting so much better and stronger and more efficient. It's amazing how these guys kick the ball and punt the ball. I mean, look at the 40-yard net. You compare that to 10, 15 years ago, and now it's way different. Being 40-yard net was you were going to be really, really high up there. Now it's pretty standard.
And then when you have Turpin and Tolbert back as kick returners and you split them up, is there a fear that they're always going to kick it away from Turpin in that?
If you see it, you're trying to hide it. In times they were holding it, and I think you're seeing a lot more of that, and you see it with teams. And obviously we got to push the envelope. We've tried having him back there by himself. We tried splitting. You try disguising, you try holding it, and you're trying to gauge what the kicker's doing. Their guy was moving around on us, so our guys were seeing that, and it's a fun game to see how it's evolved in a quick amount of time, as you guys can see it, how all these guys are kicking the ball and how so many balls are hitting the ground in that landing zone, or how many times the guys miss it each week, and gauging what are you willing to attempt as a kickoff team. What's it worth to try and get it to hit in the landing zone? And I think it's kind of that cat and mouse game, because there's such a high percentage of the balls being returned. So you want to have, obviously we want Terp to have the ball, but we also have to train a bunch of guys that can be next to him and be dynamic as well. And I think it starts with the blocking. We got to field it cleanly. We want to field it cleanly first, because that messes up the spacing and the timing of it. And then we got to stay on our blocks and not get penalties too. That sets us back, which we had a lot of them last week.
John Machado with The Athletic. Just wondering if you were superstitious at all, where you don't talk to Brandon during games or before games, or if there's any routine that you guys go through or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty he's really even keel guy, and we've kind of got our routine, and he doesn't overthink things, and yeah, we talk about distances and stuff here and there, but we don't spend a ton of time over-analyzing it, We kind of get the range, I get a feel for them, and then, obviously in the game, when there's different moments, you can bump that number back based on the situation.
And what would you say is the key to prepping a good kicking ball? I think a lot of people probably don't even know that there's a different ball, and then the fact that you guys get to use it, I think, during practice now, and you can use it for 3
Yeah,
games.
now you can prep them just like the quarterback balls. We got those a while ago. You get a certain amount, and then you bring a certain amount to the game. That's a new rule for this year. So whether that has something to do with what you might be seeing with some of the kicks, we'll see if that stays consistent. Obviously, that changes as you get more later in the season, because so many teams up north, and then the weather change. But I think it's been something that they've been talking about trying to get done, just like the quarterbacks can prepare their balls, now kickers can too.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned Kevontae Turpin kind of fielding balls when they come in really hot in the landing zone and bounce up like that. What is the coaching point to try and kind of alleviate and make that a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, we practice it. He knows the one. He let short hop him last game. He's like, I should have went up and got that. But there's judgment involved with that thing coming at you. It's like being a center fielder. Some of those line drives that hit right at you are harder than chasing one down in a gap. So it's just We practice them. We try and get Brandon to kick some to him as well, but no two are going to bounce the same. So ideally, you want to try and catch it. JT mishandled one too. It was kind of going sideways, and they can be tough. I mean, you see a lot of them. I watch throughout the league and see a lot of balls getting put on the ground, and guys have to make decisions on it. And then if it does hit the ground, the unfortunate, you never know where the heck it's going to bounce. The shape of a football. So it's just reps, it's judgment, understanding the wind and the kicker.
And then between splitting or keeping one guy back there, I guess my theory would be like, hey, if we know that the other guy struggles to land things in the landing zone, then maybe we'll just go one back there. Is there enough data points, now you think with kickers where you can be like, hey, this guy's good at getting in the landing zone, and can you prepare?
Yeah, you're starting to see it, but some games they just kick it better than others too. Like they can be inconsistent or consistent. It just depends on the game too. I mean, ideally you try and find ways that are going to help us best field it cleanly and get big returns. But when they're trying to kick dirty balls, it's not going to be 100% exactly where you think it is either. They're trying to kick it on the red line. The wind may be blowing and it gets to the numbers, or they mishit it a hair and it goes to the hash. That's a big difference. If a guy can kick only hash to hash or just, on the split between the numbers and the hash, yeah, that's easy. But if you've seen him paint outside on the red line between the numbers and the sideline and can do it, at a lower hang time, that's a different deal. That can be tough. And those are the ones that we've kind of pushed Terp on earlier by having Brandon kick those and not showing it, because Brandon's pretty good about not showing it. So I said, all right, prove to me you can be back there. And we did that before the season, and he did a nice job with it. So we have both looks in our bag, and we can always get to either one depending on the situation.
Hey, Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Keeping to Turpin, he was fairly swiftly out of his neck brace. He was a limited participant yesterday, albeit a walkthrough. Is he trending toward making the trip and being able to play against the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. We'll see. I think that's day to day.
In the event that he is unable to play against the Bears, how do you plan around his absence? Because obviously then you'd be without your dynamic returner. Is that a situation where you consider kind of making the case for Jay and Blue, so at least you have the speed out there at return? How do you plan around?
Well, we always rep all these guys, so the guys are ready. I mean, we rep a bunch of, a lot of our receivers. Jaden Blue gets reps each week no matter what. So if he does get that call or someone else gets the call, they've at least gotten reps, and they're always going to be ready for anything. Something can happen on a Friday in a practice. Someone could get sick on a Saturday, so we have to prep really for any situation. That's even, having backup snappers and holders and all that stuff.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. The flight on that 64-yarder was a little bit unique to what Brandon has had, even on his power kicks throughout his career. Was there a moment of anxiety for you watching the kick, and did you talk to him about that flight?
Not really. He had that little power draw at the end there. Just trusted him. He's a really calm dude, and I think we all feel that, and it was just hoping that thing went through, and when it did, it was pretty awesome.
You mentioned the penalties on special teams.
Yeah.
What were the coaching points this week on that?
Just clean finishes. I mean, sometimes it happens that way where they're calling more of them. And we were fortunate they called one in our favor on the very first kickoff. They were pulling him as he went down. It's just having clean hands on the finish. They get outside our framework. We can't do it. Been really stressing guys, keeping their hands inside, and then making good decisions on the finish, because that's really what it is. Someone starts to get outside the framework, that's when they're going to see it, especially point of attack. Those are the two main ones. If you're at the point of attack and if someone goes down. So as you're going down, if he's knocking you over, get your hands out so they can't see that you're pulling them with you. Even if you're just bracing yourself, sometimes they just say, oh, dude went down, you were blocking him, I'm throwing it on you, But if they see your hands there grabbing them, they're going to throw it, especially at the point of attack.
No, Dave, no, I skipped you last time.
Yeah, kind of. Well, but clearly you played Babe Laufenberg, 105.3, Cowboys Radio. Clearly you played baseball, right?
Yeah. Yeah, center field. Those can be hard. Those line drives right at you.
On the special teams, just sort of a little follow up, I guess, but a lot of space, fast and furious. I mean, is it as simple as you see the block in the back, and if you can read the guy's name, don't block him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how hard is it for these guys to refrain from?
Are you talking about like the one Flo had?
Yeah, just.
Well, that one, I mean, yeah, you shouldn't. It's like chasing a guy, let go and let go of the fruit, go get someone else. At that point, it's different if you have like a sideline return and I think that he's going to go here and I might be able to intersect and get like a hit by. But even then, you might be sideways that you see a lot of people do on sideline returns and stuff, and you hit him in the back and he falls forward. That's point of attack. So ideally, you want to try and utilize your hands, get inside and get into his chest and not – that was just a bad decision. He felt like he hit by him, but, when we watched the tape, I was like, you just go block somebody else at that point. One, don't get beat, but don't block him in the back, and I think he felt like he was trying to hit by it, just didn't work out that way. So that's like a finishing decision. It's like, I got beat, let's not make it worse, because now there's a moment there when a lot of our returns, we just kept starting with, it was towards, those last like 3 or 4, it just felt like every time it was happening. Like I said, we benefited on one of them, on the first one, when they were pulling down James Houston. They called it on 54 on the first one that they got out. So, it goes both ways. We just got to make really good decisions and bank on the fact that we're doing it right and we're going to do it with good effort and then go from there.
Coach, Ali Jawadi, LS Cowboys. Are you hoping at any point to see Brandon kick a 70-yard field goal? Is that
I don't hope for it, but there are situations where it's like, all right, you got to try for it. So it all depends. I wish that was based on how it looked like it probably would. I don't know all the data or something. I think my son sent me something that like the computer said it would have been good from 74, but something like that. You're not really like, hey, our line is 70s, good from 70. That's not kind of how we approach it. It's just kind of situational, and that situation there, it worked out.